I'm Sarah Stoner.
I'm Autumn Burt.
I'm Rachel Fabry.
I'm Holly O'Donnell.
And I'm Michaela Benish, and this is our service learning project. Okay, I did my volunteer service learning project at the Lincoln Children's Museum. And obviously it's just a museum that invites children and their family and friends to come in and play. There's a bunch of opportunity to learn, to grow, and just to create memories. Some of my goals while volunteering at the Children's Museum, I obviously had a goal to build relationships and to enhance my communication skills. I would definitely say that I reached my goal of building relationships. We've learned in college that it's all about networking. And the Children's Museum has a marketing department, and so with my major being advertising and public relations, I was really interested in helping their marketing director. And it just so happened that they were in the middle of a really big project, so they had a lot of opportunity for me to help. So I had a lot of fun doing that, and then just enhancing my communication skills, just communicating with different people of different ages, different skill levels, different backgrounds each time I volunteered was a really great experience, and really I honestly do think that I enhanced my communication skills, and I'm much now better at communicating with different kinds of people. So how I contributed, I talked about the marketing department, so I had a contribution there. I helped them sort their pictures that they use for different publications. And a lot of my time spent there, I just kind of walked around the museum and kind of cleaned up, made sure everything was nice and clean and that everyone had a really great experience there. But I also felt like one of my biggest roles there was to make sure that it was a safe environment for everyone who visited. And so the one story that really resonated with me with my experience had to do with safety. And it was one day about 10 minutes before I was getting ready to leave. I was just kind of walking around the museum, making sure everything was clean, getting my last few duties in. And I noticed this little girl walking around the museum by herself, and she kind of looked confused. And so I decided I would just kind of follow her and make sure everything was okay. And soon I realized that she had gotten separated from her siblings and her parents, and she became very panicky and became very frustrated, and she was just kind of crying. And so I knew right then and there that this was where the safety came in, and it was my duty to make sure she was safe and got back with her family and siblings. And so the look on her parents' face and her face as well when I reunited them, it was really great just to know that I helped this little girl and I got to her before something bad could have happened. And so it was really nice just going to the museum every day, not knowing what kind of impact you would have on the people that are visiting there. So my evaluation of the museum, it was a really great experience. I know I've learned a lot, I helped a lot of people, and the museum is just really appreciative of all the volunteers that they get. They're super busy, they're kind of low staff, they have a lot of events and activities, and they put on a lot of great stuff for the Lincoln community. And they really appreciate every volunteer that they get, and whether it's an hour a day or 4 hours a day that you can go volunteer, they appreciate that, and they really translate their appreciation to their volunteers and let them know how appreciated they are. So I mean, it made it a lot easier going to volunteer every time that I went, knowing that I was needed there and I was making a difference on not only the employees but also everyone visiting the museum.
So we both volunteered at Southwood Lutheran Church in the MOPS program, volunteering with little children.
My personal goal was to lead a classroom full of students in the age of 3 to 5 years old. I wanted to work on my verbal and nonverbal conversations with the students and their parents.
Yeah, mine's really similar to that as well. My personal goal was to build relationships with the women that were volunteering with me and be able to lead the children well and use and interpret nonverbal communication with them.
We contributed to the agency by showing up at our allotted times and coming on extra Mondays to help out. On Mondays, it was just the parents of the main teacher kids, and so they'd not have extra students to watch the kids, so that's when we would come. We were also flexible when they were short on volunteers in certain classrooms, being flexible in going into classrooms with kids of other age groups than we personally selected.
Yeah, and so basically our main responsibility was to watch over the children, teach them Bible stories, facilitate a craft, entertain them, and simply just keep them safe.
I really enjoyed the time with the kids. Not only did I grow a relationship with each of the students in the classroom, but I also grew a relationship with their parents and the other teachers. I would definitely volunteer here again and recommend this place to anyone that's looking for a place to continually volunteer at.
Yeah, personally, I also loved working here so much. The kids were so cute and so fun. I genuinely enjoyed every single moment that I got with them. The church was so organized, and they were on top of any issues that came up. And yeah, I would just definitely recommend volunteering here to anyone.
One of my favorite memories that I had while working here was when this little girl named Charlie, who had a hearing disability, she would always wear this little thing in the back, and it was a hearing device. And one of the days, there was a little girl, and she was asking her, like, why do you have this, like, white silver ball on the back of your head? And Charlie just turned around, and she was like, it just helps me hear as good as you. And just like seeing how comfortable Charlie was in the environment to just so freely talk about her hearing disability or impairment, and also just feeling the comfortability of the other student just to ask her kind of what it was, showed the overall kind of how the church was set up and how each student felt very comfortable in the classroom. It was just a really cool experience that I was happy I was able to witness.
Yeah, definitely. I think the environment was really comfortable and really laid back, and so it made it easy to just be comfortable with anything that we said or did. We didn't feel like we were walking on eggshells or anything, which was, I think that really says a lot about the organization for sure. One of my favorite experiences was when there's this set of identical twins, and they were playing with each other, and right when I walked into the room, like right when I had arrived for the day, one sister was on top of an upside down bin, and then the other one was trapped inside, and she was bawling her face off. There was an adult teacher in the room who wasn't really doing anything about it, and that kid was screaming. And so I took initiative. I ran right in there and I saved the little girl from her sister. Not only did that spark my initiative to take action, but I also learned how to talk to kids in a way that would definitely so that they would understand what they were doing was wrong. And so then the toddlers made amends, and I felt really accomplished in saving the little one and getting her sister to apologize.
Overall, I believe that Rachel and I had a wonderful time volunteering here. With the students, the kids, the church, everyone that was there, we really enjoyed getting to know them and build a relationship with them. We both feel as we grew personally with our goals and our personalities and leadership skills grew just by volunteering here. So I greatly appreciate you giving us this opportunity and showing us this wonderful place of Southwood Lutheran Church.
I did my service learning project at the Nebraska National Guard Child and Youth Program. One of the goals during my service learning project was that I wanted to better my communication skills. Throughout my project, I have come to the conclusion that I have accomplished this goal because I'm now able to better communicate with both my peers and supervisors and kids. One way that I contributed to the organization was that I was just an extra body. I was able to be there for the kids when they didn't have enough other people. I was able to be there for them to listen and just help them through daily life. One particular example comes to mind when I think of this. One day at an after-school event, I was there and one little girl came and talked to me and all I did was listen. This sounds like not a big deal, but just hearing her out and listening to her seemed to make all the difference in the world to her, and I'm glad I was able to have an impact on her. Overall, I had a really good experience volunteering with the Nebraska National Guard Child and Youth Program. I was able to better my communication skills, and I was also able to give back to the people who serve the United States. I was also able to be there for the kids, which was really big to me because I love being able to work with kids. I would highly recommend volunteering with this organization to anyone who likes volunteering with kids and wants to make an impact in the city of Lincoln.
The agency that I worked with for my service learning project was the Center for People in Need. Specifically, I helped out with what was called the Neighborhood Food Program, and it's essentially a food bank where low-income families can come and shop our aisles and bring home a full cart to their families. So the goal I had for my service learning project was to build a strong and lasting relationship with the agency and those that I worked with. I wanted to make sure that the agency knew they could rely on me to help out when they needed me and to be there when I said I would be there. What I contributed to the agency was just being an extra helping hand. A lot of times they wouldn't have enough volunteers, and even though they had workers that were full-time and were there daily, the volunteers were never consistent and would just come and go. Some days there'd be a lot, some days there wouldn't be any. So specifically, a lot of times at the neighborhood food programs, I would go on Tuesday and Friday afternoons. And Friday afternoons, there'd always not be very many volunteers there, so instead of only stocking one category of food, I would typically have to stock 2 or 3 different categories of food, and that just showed that they were really lacking in help. So it was good to know that I was there to be an addition to the team. Overall, I would say my experience volunteering there was great. I built good relationships with those I was working with, and it was always an enjoyable time, so I would suggest it to anybody.